session now. And then the next thing I want to know is how many of you are currently using your IQ website as your main website or in any function at all? Okay, awesome. And just so you know, the more you participate in this webinar, the better it is. It's a little bit easier for me to talk. Yes, Judy, I'm going to share my screen with you. I have disabled my video so that you can't see me. I can show you. Here I am. I'm a real person. Or there's my desk. There's my banana for my breakfast. But I have disabled the video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start my screen share with you. So I actually want to go here. So you should now be able to see my screen. So today we're going to go through your website. If you have questions as we go along, what I would like you to do is go ahead and type them either in the question box or in the chat box. I will be answering questions periodically. We've got about 35 to 40 minutes of content to go through with no questions. If there's questions, it takes about an hour, and I will hang out afterwards after we get through all the content to make sure all your questions are answered. There is no such thing as a silly question, and if you have the question, it is very likely that someone else on this webinar also has a question. So as you're looking at your website, if you scroll to the very bottom, you can actually see two places to log in. You can see the IQ Office login and the IQ Web login. And I like to just take a minute to describe these two different products of IQ so that you know what you're getting into. IQ Office is your CRM. It's where you do all your work on your clients and you create your marketing plans and your action plans and all of that. IQ Web is where your consumers go to shop for real estate. And so today what we're going to be focusing on is this IQ Web, and we're going to go in and we're going to edit the page. So when you click IQ Login, you're going to enter your username and password. It is the same username and password as your IQ Office. And so that is your username and password. You know that you're in edit mode because you'll see this gray black bar across the top of the screen, and it says IQ Web Editor. If you have never logged into your website before, you're going to start on this design tab. And when you do that, you can actually scroll through. There are several different designs. I believe there's 33 or 34 different designs now. And you'll see a preview. So I can see a preview of the website here on the left-hand side. And then I can also see a bulleted list. So I can tell that there's a customized disclaimer, there's an interactive map, there's 3 featured listings, there's 3 panels with images. If you want something that says, hey, I want to look at this one. This one has 8 panels. Or maybe I want to look at this one, and this one has a YouTube section and a portal section. So you go through and you actually take some time here to decide which design that you like and choose the color of the buttons that you would like. So do you want black buttons or blue buttons or orange buttons? And you can change that at any time. Once you've made your selection, you're going to go ahead and click Update this design. And then the design is automatically going to update. You then will see this white button in the upper right-hand corner. So that white button in the upper right-hand corner that says Edit Page is where you're going to start, and that's where you can tell what are sections that you can edit. So you can actually go through and I can say, hey, I want to edit my header, or I want to edit this menu. You can hide sections. So if I say, hey, I don't want to see this property watch on my page, I just click Hide, OK, and then it will show that that section is hidden. This only shows when you are in edit mode. Once you exit edit mode, this section is hidden. Anytime you see the green Save button in the upper right-hand corner, you need to click that green Save button. There's nothing more frustrating than creating and working on a whole bunch of content and not clicking that save button as you go along and then losing all your work. So be sure that if you see that green save button, you actually do click that green save. And I just want to go through because all of these sections are something that you can change. So I can actually click on this 4-panel section and click this gray edit pencil. And when I open that up, I can see, okay, here's the 4 panels, panel 1, panel 2, panel 3, panel 4. I can see all of the titles. So our realtors I can see that one's find your office, selling a home, or finding a home. I also can add panels. So I can add up to 6 panels. So I can have 6 panels, 4 panels, 3 panels, 2 panels, and 1 panel. I can go in and I can edit each of those. To edit a panel, you select the panel you would like to edit. You can edit the title. You can edit the description. You can edit the button text. And then you can edit where that link goes. To select a link, you're going to click the blue select link box. And then you can choose from IQ pages. Say maybe you wanted to do what's my home worth. You can choose from lead sources. You can choose from custom pages that you or your company have built. You can choose from a specific listing, or you can choose from a specific listing for property management. Once you've made your selection, and to do that, all I did was I dropped down, I said, hey, I want to do what's my home worth, and I click OK, and now I can see that that link has changed. If I want to change the photo, I click on the blue change button underneath the photo. And you can upload your own images, or you can choose from stock images that Realistic has provided for you. And I can say, hey, I need a lifestyle photo. And I like this photo. Once you've made all your changes on all your panels, you're going to click the OK button. I can see here, everything has changed. And again, I click that green save button in the upper right-hand corner. Before we move on, I want to make sure that there are no questions on how to go in and log into your website or choose a design or what those gray pencils do. So do you have any questions? So there are no questions, but I want to just confirm with you also, if you are ready to go on to the next section, if you could just type yes in the chat box, that would be awesome. Perfect. Awesome. So all of this front page is customizable. When you log in, you want to make sure that you are going through and you are clicking on the links and you're making sure you know where they go. So for example, as an office, I would absolutely want a section on Find My Office and Our Realtors. However, if I was an agent, I would not want this section. And so I think it's really important that you scroll through and you make sure you know where those links go and that you're taking people to pages that make sense for who you are. I know I've got some managers on the call. I've also got some agents on the call. And so be thinking about that. If you just want to preview the links, you can just click on those edit buttons and you can just look at what those links are here. And that's what it'll tell you. Okay, this is going to go to all of our agents. This is going to go to all of our offices. The next section I want to go through is how to update your meta tags or how to make your homepage something that people have to register for. Before I do that, I just want to let you know that the goal that you should have for your page, we should all have for our pages, is that people stay on your page. We want this to be a place where they find the information they're looking for and they're not going other places. So if you choose to make this something people have to register for, know that you could be losing people to places like Zillow because people will get frustrated with having to register. That being said, you also want to make sure that you do have meta tag information in your site so that people know so that Google and search engines know what your site is about. Do you know what a meta tag is? I'm just going to do a quick poll. Bear with me as I type it out. I was not going to ask this question, but I do think it is an important question to ask. So do you know what a meta tag is? Some yes, some no. Okay. This is awesome. I love talking about this stuff. So this is my next question. It's going to seem unrelated. Do you remember CAD card catalogs? So some of you remember card catalogs at the library. You went and actually went to a box and you looked something up. Okay, cool. So this is how we're going to explain meta tags. Google, there's more information on Google than we can possibly consume in a lifetime. It's huge. It's just massive amounts of data. And as search engines are looking for websites, so someone types into Google, real estate in XYZ city. Google goes out and it filters in a blink of an eye all the data in the web, and it's looking for the best match. And part of the way that it is deciding if your web page is a good match for content is it's looking at your meta tags. And so it is like a card catalog. So you go to the card catalog and you look up a book. And in that book, it's got the author and the section and the call number and maybe a little bit about the book on that card. But it's in this vast data and it's just one little glimpse of what your website is like. So you should be attaching metadata to your page. You're giving Google the library background facts on what your page is about in just a blink of an eye. Because then what Google's going to do, and know that this is very simplified, because then what Google's going to do is it's going to say, okay, it says this page says it's about real estate. It's been updated recently from the MLS. It looks like they've got content about moving, and it's going to start to look a little bit deeper into your content. So to add metadata up here next to the cancel button, there is something called a page option. And when you click there, you're just going to see a drop down that says meta tags. And underneath additional meta tags, you can add meta tags. So the meta tag might be real estate. Wow, I have not had my coffee this morning. And then the meta tag value is going to be something like real estate for sale in your city, relocating in your city, helpful tips for moving in your city. You can add a bunch of these meta tags. If you want to take a meta tag off, you just click the red subtract button and it will take that meta tag off. If you want to have your page be something people have to register for, you see this over here on the right-hand side where it says registration required, no. You can change that to yes, and you can change that to a neg or a neg only with pay-per-click, or an offer with pay-per-click. If you're going to do this, I suggest making it an offer. Make it something that people can click out of so that they don't leave your page, because you don't want people to get off your page. Yes, when I say your city, I do not mean literally meta tag your city. So I'm actually in Vegas this week. So if I were doing real estate in Las Vegas, I would say real estate for sale in Las Vegas, real estate for sale in Elko City, real estate for sale in Henderson. I would put the city where you're selling in place of your city. Does that make sense? You're welcome. I'm glad that you asked that question, because I think that it all gets very confusing very quickly when we start to talk about Google's brain and all of that. And you can spend a lot of time in articles reading about it. And that is the best way I found to simplify what it is. In this description, this is where you can put your nice paragraph with keywords. Thinking about moving, or do you live in Las Vegas and you're thinking about moving to Henderson, great new area with homes, yada, 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 yada. You can put all that keyword description in the description box. Your description and your meta tags should be on the same lines. That helps Google's brain say, okay, this is the nonfiction autobiography section. This is the real estate section. This is the Las Vegas section. Once you've changed all this, all you have to do to save it is click OK. I'm actually going to change the registration to no. I'm going to click Save. Okay, and then you're going to see that green Save button up here. So make sure that you're saving as you go along. If you learn nothing else during this webinar, I hope that you learn that you need to hit the green Save button as you go along. Everybody feel good about that? Meditate data, how to edit your page name, how to add a page description. If you want to make it register, something people have to register for, where to go to find that. If you can go ahead, type yes in the chat box. Perfect. Awesome. So how do you opt out of registration? So everybody currently, if you haven't touched this, you are opt out of registration. But if you want, so this registration, if it says required no, then you are opting out of registration. If you change that drop down to yes, you're opting into registration. So that is where you would go to change that. Perfect. The next thing that we're going to go through is I want to talk to you all about creating your own content, because part of why we all got into this business is the fact that we can actually run our own show the way that we want and in the style that we want. And knowing that you may have other things that you do, or descriptions of neighborhoods or testimonials that you want to share on a page, and you can actually create quite a lot of vast content to attach to your page and share with clients. To do that, you can actually go into this Pages button up here in the upper right-hand corner. And when you do that, it's going to show you all the pages that you've created. If it is something that says a global page, that means that your company has created it so that you can use it. That's what that means. We're going to actually go through the whole process of creating a new page. That starts by clicking this new page up in the upper right-hand corner. And so just quickly how I got there is I went to the Pages button, and then I'm going to click New Page in the upper right-hand corner. And when I do that, I see several different templates. So as I scroll down, all of these templates at the top, so it says select a template, and template 1 through 16 are static information. What that means is once you put the information in there, it does not change. These pages are great for things like what's it like to relocate to your area? Who are your preferred vendors? What are things that people want to do, summertime activities, wintertime activities? Perhaps it's a newsletter that you're putting out monthly, and it can just be a monthly newsletter page. But once the information is there, that the information is staying the same. That's what a static page is. As I scroll down, there's this section called dynamic pages. And dynamic pages mean it is pulling information from somewhere else to automatically update your page. Pulling information like from the MLS. If you are an office admin or manager on the page and you want to make an agent template for agents that are maybe luxury certified, or maybe they are licensed in 2 states, you can actually use this agents template and it pulls from your roster. For the sake of editing, we are going to go in and we're going to create a dynamic page, because the dynamic page does have some information on it that remains the same. And editing a static page is very similar to editing the static parts of these pages. So I'm going to choose this listings template 1, and then I'm going to click this next button. When I do that, it's going to ask me to go in and tell us about that page. So when you do this, you're going to say, hey, the name of the page, let's just do a first-time homebuyer page. And you're going to name the page, and then you're going to give the page a title. This name is what's going to show up here in the URL. This title is what's going to show on the page. So I'm going to say, so you want to buy a home. And then I'm going to add a description. In this description, I am going to add keywords about buying a home for the first time. That's what I'm going to add in this description. If I am living in, maybe I'm in Charleston, South Carolina, and I'm going to add the city Charleston, South Carolina into that. I'm going to add looking to buy your first home in Charleston, South Carolina. Look no further. Tips and tricks and listings that are great opportunities for first-time home buyers. Listed here. This is updated live from the MLS. Every 5 to 10 minutes. You will not have to worry about 1,000 agents contacting you like they do on Zillow. I can add a lot of keyword descriptions in there. Does everybody know what a keyword is? I'm going to type a poll so I can get your answers to that. Perfect. Andrew does. I know that sometimes we all use these words and they sound really catchy, and I'm just going to show the results to y'all so you can see this. So it's about 50-50. So some people do, some people don't. This goes back to what we were talking about, like meta tag data. This is the data. Keyword is the data that people are looking, that Google and Yahoo are looking for when they're looking at your page. They're key descriptors about your page so that search engines know what your page is about. Real estate for sale, relocation, buying a new home. Think about what people are putting into that Google search bar or that Yahoo search bar or that Bing search bar. Those are things that are your keywords that you need to make sure you're hitting. Does that make sense to everybody? Kurt, I see your question. Zip codes. Yep. And Andrew's, things like zip codes are a really good thing to put in there, especially if you're in an area. Sometimes it's really interesting because some cities have zip codes, and zip codes are really small and really specific. And some cities have zip codes that are really broad. So think about what kind of city. I believe, Andrew, I think you're in Coeur d'Alene, aren't you? And so I'm from Coeur d'Alene, and the zip codes there are huge. It's a huge territory. So, oh, perfect. So Southern California is great because you have much smaller areas that are zip code related. In Coeur d'Alene, the zip code areas are really large. And so you can put zip codes in, but it doesn't really drill down to a specific community necessarily. But I think you have to think about your market and what people are looking for in your market. Are people searching for a place by zip code, or are they searching it by a name of a neighborhood? Kurt, you asked a question about how to get to your website. That's a question for your office admin. You're going to go to your website and log in. And I don't know what your website is. So first-time home buyer, and then you're going to put all your description in here. Again, here's that registration required. Do you want people to have to register? Yes or no? And here you have a neg, an offer, or a force. If you only want them to have to register with pay-per-click, your website is smart enough to recognize when the click-through is coming from a paid ad. And so you can make it only registration required when there's a pay-per-click. If you are paying for people to get to your page, it makes sense that you would have some type of registration when they got there. So you choose what this is. You also choose the lead source. So choose a lead source that you know is going to make sense when it comes through. If you're a manager, you have this section here that's called Global Pages. And you can make this page available to everyone in your office, yes or no. And then again, here's that meta tag data that you can add. And you can always go back and add metadata data. You can always go back and change the description. You can always go back and change the registration. And you can attach it to menus. I recommend not attaching it to menus until you are done editing it. And I'm going to show you how to do that so that it makes sense. Once you enter in all of this information, you're going to click OK. And when you do that, it is going to create the page. So I've now created the page. It's called First Time Homebuyer. I can tell I'm still in edit mode, and I'm going to click Edit Page. The text will automatically default to Latin because if we wrote something really nice here that talked about listings or something like that, you would never go in and change the data and make it your own. So that is why this is in Latin. To edit any of these sections, you simply click on the pencil. So I'm going to click on the pencil. I can actually type text here about first-time home buying. I can change the text format. I can highlight. I can change the font color. I can change the font highlight. I can make it bold or italic. I can go in and I can insert an image if I would like. I can upload an image here. I can choose from images I've already uploaded, or I can choose from stock photos. So I can say, hey, I actually need a real estate photo, and I'm going to choose this photo, and it's going to automatically insert it in for me. I can hyperlink. So if you need to hyperlink to something, you can do that. But once you've made all your changes to the text, you're just going to click OK. Again, we're going to click that green Save button in the upper right-hand corner. As I scroll down, you can see there's places for optional links for YouTube, for blogs. An RSS link is to a blog. And there's also an optional Yelp link. I think this Yelp link is really, really cool. You can actually go in and you can say, hey, I want entertainment, I want hotels and travel, I want restaurants, shopping, and home services. And I do want to show this. And it actually inserts a little Yelp tool for you here that talks about, okay, what's the entertainment near here? What are the home services that are available? What are the hotels and travel? And this is automatically updating from Yelp. The next thing we're going to talk about is editing those listings. So I click that other edit button, and I can see here, do I want to show only company properties? Yes or no. I would like residential properties. I would like the location of, maybe you want the location of the city Elko. Maybe you don't want the location. You want it to pull from all of your MLS, but you want to put in a specific price range. So I can say, hey, I want to actually put in the price range of 175 to maybe to 250. And you can choose what all of this information is. Once I've made all my changes for the type of properties I would like to display, I click OK, and then I click Save, and I can see here, here's all the homes, 250, and it's going to go in order of highest, most expensive to least expensive. I can actually go in and I can say, hey, that I don't want expireds, I don't want pending, I don't want closed, I only want active listings, I only want resale listings, I only want things that have been new to the market in 7 days. So you can go in and you can change all of this information. I want all properties. Again, every time I make a change, I'm clicking that green Save button. I'm going to come back to your question. Laura, Kurt, I don't understand your statement. I need you to, if you're going to ask a question, I need you to make sure you're doing it in the form of a question, because I don't know if that's an error that you're getting. I don't know where you're putting that in. I just need a little bit more information. So Laura, I'm going to come back to your two questions. So there's all the information. Once you've made all the changes to your page, so it's loading listings, here it is, it's live, I've put in my text, I've got everything the way that it wants to be. I can then attach this to a menu. To do that, I go up to this menus button in the upper bar, and I choose, I can either add a new menu or I can add this to a site menu. The site menu is this menu at the top of your screen. So again, I'm going to go to menus, and then I'm going to choose my site menu to attach the page to that menu. Now I can actually go in and I can say, hey, I want to add this to that browse for properties section. And I'm going to do a custom page. I'm going to find the page that I created. I'm going to name it. And I want it to be a submenu of browse for property, add to menu. Now I can see that page I created right there. I click the green save button. And now if I go to the top of my screen, I can see first time home buyer. So again, menus, site menu, choose the section, and then go over and choose the page. Add to menu, green save button. There it is. That is how you create a page. There is a section over here that I think is really neat that you can actually add optional listing stats. You can say, hey, yes, I want to show these. And this information automatically pulls now from the listings that you've selected. Hey, how many listings are available? What's the median price per square foot? And what's the median list price? I think that people really like statistics, but nobody likes figuring statistics out. So that's a tool that's there for you. And that's awesome. So there is a question about what is a neg. So up here underneath page options, if you want to go back in and you want to change that meta tag descriptions, you can go to meta tags here. You can add that. So we'll just add real estate. And we'll add real estate for sale. The neg means every so many visits to the site, they're going to be asked to register. So every third time. So I'm going to say, hey, every third time they visit the site, they're going to be asked. Or every second time they visit the site, they're going to be asked. Or every seventh time they visit the site, they're going to be asked. It's just going to ask them after they've been there a couple times. It's going to ask them to register. That's what a neg is. Once I put that meta tag data in and I click OK, it's there. So I can actually go in back here and I can see there's that meta tag data. So once you enter it in, it's in there and it's saved. We've gone through about 30 minutes of content. We've gone through everything from logging into your website. So from your home screen, going down to the very bottom and going to your IQ Web login and editing into your mode, starting at this design page to choose your design, editing your actual page, going through and editing content or hiding content if you wish, creating pages and attaching them to menus. We've also gone through how to add and change the description as well as meta tag data. The last thing I want to show you is what's underneath this advanced page. And there's just two things that I want to show you on here, and that is the Google Analytics and the Facebook Pixel. So if you are using Google Analytics, you can actually go in and you can type your tracking ID in here. If you don't know how to find that tracking ID, all you have to do is click here, and it's going to show you where that is. You also can attach your Facebook Pixel. You go here to Facebook Pixel, and again, click here to find out where to find it. And you can attach your Facebook marketing that you're doing, that you're linking back to your site by putting your Pixel ID in there and then clicking save. I do want to make sure that we have some time for questions and answers. That's a lot of information in 35 minutes for you, but it is a really good overview of what to do. So there was a question about how do I know what my website is? And I don't know what everybody's website is on here. A good way to figure this out is if you are in your IQ office. So if I'm in my IQ office, it's going to open up here. You can actually go to your profile and your website should be listed there. If you've not connected a different website, I can actually go in and I can see, here's my website address. Once you know, did that pop up? Once you know your website, I think it opened in a different column for y'all. Yep, it did. Let me stop sharing and reshare real quick so you can see that. So here, so I went to my name and then I went to profile, and then your website address is here. Then you can go into your website and go to that IQ web login. Let's see. Other questions? I want to make sure that you have a chance to really ask the questions that you need and get the information that you need to have. If you want to attach a domain that you made, you absolutely can do that. It's a little more involved than just this webinar because you can buy domains from so many other places. If you want to do that, you need to talk to your manager and they can help you walk through that. Because it really depends on if you bought it from Google or GoDaddy or Yahoo or domains.net. Like, it depends on where you buy your domain and to how you get it attached. So, yes. So, Lynn, this is going to be posted on the Facebook page. So it'll be posted on our Facebook group. It will also be posted on our Facebook or on our YouTube channel. If you all don't know, we have a Facebook group that we do our best to answer all your questions via video in a very timely manner. So I can actually go here. It is called Realistic Users. If you just type that into the search bar on your Facebook, you can ask questions here. We do our best to answer things in video form and tag you so you get the answers. We also have a YouTube channel, and that is called Realistic Support. Let me show you that. So here is our YouTube channel, and all of our webinars are posted on our YouTube channel as well as on our Facebook page for y'all. So you can always rewatch them. They're there for you. You're also going to get an email with a recording of this so that you can go back and watch it. The next question is, what web pages do you recommend running as Facebook ads or Boost or Google ads? So Thomas, can I ask where you're from? Perfect. So if I were you, Thomas, do you mind if I share where you're from? Thomas is from North Carolina and asked a really good question. And it's a much more involved question than just a quick, hey, these are good things. So I think that you need to, I have some opinions about Facebook ads and Google ads. I think that you need to, do some research. What are people putting into the search bar and what are people clicking on? And how does that affect what they're clicking on your ads? I think that having a registration page is awesome. Most of the content that I've had a lot more success with running ads on is content that's really based on relocation and what it's like to live in Coeur d'Alene. I thought that I would have a lot more interaction with, hey, what's new to the market, new and reduced prices, get the updates as soon as it goes live in MLS. I think that's great information to share. What I found gets more results is things like ways to beat the winter blues, top 5 things to bring in your cooler if you're going on the lake, top 5 lakes to visit if you're in Coeur d'Alene, content that people actually consume, I get a lot higher click result for on Facebook. And it's really those list style, like, hey, what are the top places to visit while you're here? If you're relocating to the area, what are the top 3 new construction neighborhoods? What do you need to know before moving from North Carolina to North Idaho? And I was actually really surprised about that. So this is my advice when it comes to social media. And on Google, I get a lot more clicks with new to the market, hey, analytical data. Anytime you're spending money on advertising, whether it's on Facebook or on Google or on Instagram or on LinkedIn or in your city newspaper, we live in a time where people get information really quickly, and you can get results in your advertising really quickly. If you're doing print media, you need to commit to at least 6 months because that is a slower turnaround for leads. If you're doing Facebook, run an ad for a weekend and see if you get results. If you don't get results, change the ad. Change the information and see what's consumed heavier. I have a whole bunch of pages. Actually, let's just talk about that really quick too. I'm so glad you asked this question. So you can actually add these pages to your bookmarks. To do that, if you're in Google Chrome, you click the star next to the website. And I actually have a folder, a lead pages folder that I save them all in, so that when I go to share on my social media, I have them all in one place and I can just say, hey, this is my first time home buyer. This is all this information I've already created. So taking some time in the beginning of creating your website to have a lot of content makes it really easy to share that content later. But if you're doing Google ads or you're doing Facebook ads, I think being nimble and trying something out and spending $10, and if it works, great, then spending more. But if it's not working, changing it and trying a different page, because it really is going to be specific to your market and what people are looking to consume. Yeah, no problem. Mary has a question. Is there a way to change the header font color from white on the new page? So Mary, I just want to make sure you're talking about like this text. Perfect. To my knowledge right now, there's not. That'd be something that you would want to talk to your manager about, and they could submit a ticket to the help desk to probably fix that for you. But right now there is not a way to change the color of that font. You can change the picture though. So I would say, hey, this picture looks nice, but it's hard to read. So I would probably say, hey, I'm going to change that picture to, what slide is that? This one, to something else here, maybe interior. And I'm going to choose this photo. Because then it shows better. But right now, that's how you work around that. If you talk to your manager, they should be able to, or staff admin, they should be able to submit a ticket. And if there's specific text, they can work to see if they can get that changed for you. But right now, that's not something that's customizable. Yeah, no worries. So here's the challenge for you all. Great questions, by the way. I love answering questions like this. Now it's time to put this into action. We've just spent about 45 minutes talking about creating a page, creating landing pages, some marketing ideas, getting your meta tag data up to date, and your keywords. That's a whole lot of information in 45 minutes. The video is going to take about 30 to 40 minutes to render before I can download it and upload it. And if you don't put a time on your calendar to actually go in and start working on this, you're never going to go back and do it. So what I would really encourage you all to do is to take out your phones, take out your planners, and schedule yourself for about an hour to go in and put a time on your calendar to work on your website, whether it's adding keywords, descriptions, adding meta tag data, going in and creating some landing pages. And I would do that at least once a month. So once a month, I'm going to spend an hour on my website. Even if it's just going through and making sure you know what you've already created and sharing that information and setting up your bookmarks bars. You may have a lot of this information already created and you're using it, but take the time once a month to go in and make sure your content's up to date. They say that humans have an attention span now of about 3 seconds. And I think it really is important that you know that the internet is changing that fast. And so you need to make sure your content is up to date. It can be something as simple as making sure your descriptions say the right year, making sure that maybe you have a new idea about a home inspector page and you're going to put 8 different home inspectors, or maybe you're going to make a page that's questions to ask a home inspector when you're interviewing them. But get out your calendar and put it on your calendar so that you're using your time wisely, not just today in the webinar and learning, but moving forward in your business and really taking the time to grow your business and set yourself up for success. So there's a lot more of you on the call than have answered that poll. I'm going to hang out here for the next few minutes. I do want to make sure that I've answered all your questions. And know that I do my best and there's no such thing as a silly question or an unrelated question. So if you have any questions, I would love to answer them. Next week, let's look at what next week is. Next week, we are meeting again at 8 o'clock Pacific time. I want to make sure that y'all have that on your calendar as well. Every Monday at 8 a.m., we do a webinar. And we do our best to make sure we're bringing you great value. At the end of this, you're also going to get a survey, and I do read all of your feedback. And I want to make sure that we're getting the information you need. So if you have any questions or you have webinars you'd like to see or things that you don't understand, please put that in that feedback so that we can make sure we answer your questions. It looks like Monday, March 25th, we are going to be going through editing your profile, updating your bio, and setting your lead preferences. So that's what the next webinar is about, and I'll look forward to having you all. I'm going to hang out for just a few more minutes, make sure that nobody has any other questions. I'm glad that you're putting stuff on your calendar to get it done and go out and work on your business. Technology is a key part as we move forward. It's not the only part by any means, but I think taking the time to make sure that you have time slotted out to go in and edit and create your content and save your pages and get information out to your consumers is really important. You're welcome, Andrew. If you haven't joined the Facebook group, we'd love to have you. You can also subscribe to that YouTube channel. We're putting videos up at least a couple times a week, webinars and how-to videos and things like that. Yep, everybody's going to get an email of the recording. It will also be posted on Facebook and YouTube by the end of the day today, so you're going to have all that information. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. If there are